Alrighty, so with the S&P, we're still looking for it to move lower into the 3,900 area, and depending on the US dollar, there is another count that we can have as another move down to finish things off as well. We'll talk about that more in the indices video, but the takeaway here is that we should be seeing more downside coming into play in the next session. Okay, so that's pretty much the story for stocks as well. We're still feeling out this, this low in the market here. So based on that, let's move into Apple here. So on the bigger picture here, we're looking at pretty stock and standard. Most of the markets we're looking at have got some sort of ABC correction, and we're at the very later stages of that correction. So let's just move in here. I think I can go to the 1K tick here. So just to have a bit of a chin wag about this, just to keep it simple here. So from wave B here, we're looking at 5 waves down. And here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe the 144, 143, the 145 is going to give us some support there as well. Now, when we were in this area here, if we had found the 150 as the support, then we would have gone long at that point. Now, what we'll do here is once we've got a nice clean impulse wave to the upside, 5 waves, then we'll start looking for a trade setup below this level here. So we'll look at part positions, smaller position sizes, probably within group 2 area through here. We'll get to that. Hopefully, I was thinking Friday, but the US dollar index is not telling me that. So I think that it's going to take a little bit longer. So it's still the short side for all markets if you're searching out for trades, something to trade. Let's just get in a bit more data. So from the top up here, we're looking at 5 waves down for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 in here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 here for the third, and ABC for the fourth, and then down for the 5th wave here as 1 and 2. Looking at all of this as the third, I might need to sort of rejig that a little bit actually, and look for a third over here for that and bring in a 4th over here. But we'll get to that. In both cases, we still need to look for a low further down here. Now, of course, on the lows here, there's going to be support, there's going to be a rally, all of those sort of things, and then it'll test it again. So as I mentioned, well, the lows, the 145 and the 144 and the 143 are all going to be tough little nuts. So you'll need some patience to crack any success there. And so that's it really. We're just still edging lower, and just some patience is required for those. The same with Amazon as well. We've got the A, the B, and the C wave here, so that's all pretty sort of simple. Obviously there'll be good support at 90, but even above on this spike here at 91 or wherever that is, what price point is that at? 91.50. So there's going to be really good support at 92. So let's just cut straight through to 100 ticks and resolve this area. So from wave B here, we're looking down in terms of, it's a bit of a rickety road, this one, but we're looking from B down to C here in orange, which is minor degree, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3 here, 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to come further down. I think I'm okay with all of that. There may be an extra wave, but like I said, there'll be. We're already at 92, so 91.50 and 92. All of this, when you enter Group 1 of a larger number, it's bouncy. Like it's at 3 here. The strongest numbers are 1, 5, 8, and then 3. Oddly enough, and you can see, how strong it is here in this case. And this is all about number 5 here, all this swinging across here. The balance point is 5. We're coming down. I'll just have to have a look at it as it goes, This also may be wave 3 over here, depending on how I count that here. If we look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's okay, but it might be 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and 3, 4, 5. So there may be, but just we're still going down. But shorting something into group 1 is not always a great idea, and the reason for that is that it's about controlling your exposure within the market, because when as you can see, it bounces from number 2 here back to number 3 here, and then it'll be doing the same in all of these numbers. So to actually be in here and trade, you can't really be a day trader. You have to be a scalper. You have to get to the next number and get out, get to the next number and get out, that type of thing, and understand, supply and demand in those support and resistance, really, in those spaces. Okay, so NVIDIA end up pulling back, so didn't give us our 5 waves up here, so I think we handled that reasonably well, because we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 here, possibly 5 taking the top out. But even if it took the top out here, we weren't going to go for it. We still had to wait for the ABC correction before going for it over here. So we only ended up with an A wave here, B wave here, and now we need to look at this as a C wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we still need to come down further into our target area, and we also talked about that. So the next long trade for this will be down here. What we want to see next here is we want to see an impulse wave to the upside here. Now, we've just got to wait for that, really, and then look for the ABC pattern here, and then we can move into it. So nothing really to be had here at the moment with this, and it's going to take a little while. So, you could buy it on, it's not my, if you're day trading and scalping, you can buy and sell at big numbers, and duck and dive and weave and all of those sorts of things. But that's a completely different strategy. What we're doing here is really just looking for trends that we can get into and build in that way. Everybody's different. You can give the same amount of capital to 50 people, and after about 10 trades, everybody will have different results. Rightio. So Meta platform. So yesterday we were looking for the 5 waves up here. So I think that's it there now, and we're going to see like another move come down here for this. Because I really want the S&P and NASDAQ to bottom out before, we start looking for other trades. And we also need the US dollar, topping out at that point as well, because they're all, all the markets, most of the markets rather, are pivoting off that. So, but anyway, so the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave for wave 4 and coming down. So 165, maybe a bit lower. We'll see how it goes, but it's in group 2 here. So it'll test this, but if this becomes the resistance, then we'll be coming down further, but coming down into 165, 163, 162 here, they're pretty strong numbers at that point as well. Anyway, we should see some sort of move down here in the next session. And Netflix, so yesterday when we spoke, or the last few days that we've been speaking about this, we're looking for the A, the B, and the C, and we can see it, doing its thing now, moving lower. It needs to make a new low below here. Obviously, there's going to be good support at 10 at that point, that may suffice at that point, or 8 or something of that number. But big numbers like this tend to pull the minds of men to itself. So we have to expect that at that point. But There could be a buy right on the 300 as well for short-term traders. But once again, you're in group 1 here, so coming down into group 1, so just be mindful of, don't, when you're in wave 4 corrections, at least half, if you're trading in a wave 4 or you're trading down into group 1, you need to reduce your position sizes by more than half. Okay, so with Enphase here, as I've been mentioning for a little while here, I'm unsure about this count, and the count that you're looking at here is just a guess, so don't take it seriously. And but at the same time, I'm still, if we're with the other markets, we still need another move down here, so we'll see how that plays out. So I've got this as an A wave here and a B wave here, because I can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we've got this sort of other move here that's sort of incorporated into that. Now I could play that to this side, or I could play it to this side, yeah, and there can also be one more little move up here, by the way, as well. So don't get excited about that. We'll see it roll over. It'd be nice if it comes down below the level here. I mean, it came down below the level here, but it didn't really find it as resistance. But if it can come down and check deeper here, and then come back up and find a nice support here with a classic trading levels pattern, well, then that, nice sort of tested support here, then that, something like that, not that dog leg there, but sitting on there as such, then we can look to build a long trade. But we need the rest of the market with us as well. We need the wind in the sails, and like I say, there'll be nothing to trade, and then there'll be everything to trade at once. So you need to choose what you do, and it's always good to go with leading stocks. I mean, they're higher risks, but the leading stocks give you the range, give you more money, but they're higher risk because they go first. The stocks that follow are safer, but they don't have the range. And I'm just generally speaking, So Tesla turned nicely from our high here, but it was a very clean count to see here, because we're looking at this as an A and a B and a C wave here with 5 waves in here, or we could have looked at it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and in that case we would have got a part position above the top there as mentioned. But yeah, look, it's folded over. Look, it still could be 1 and 2 and 1 and then an A, B, C for 2 here, right? But that risk to buy right there is just too high, so we need to wait for it to come further down. So I was just looking for hidden things in there like that. Yeah, it's probably something like this. I mean, obviously this trend line we can put back into play here. That's going to give us a little bounce in there. So yeah, I mean, not technically, but we kind of want to see a move below the A wave here, really. I mean, the B wave came up, probably the square root of 61.8%, the 78.6 or something, but yeah, I mean, if it came up level up here, then I would look at it going level here, but because it failed to get level up here as a flat, then it's likely to just take out this low here, and it could come down further into this little area through here. We'll just see what it looks like. I mean, obviously there's going to be support at the 200, and really it's as I mentioned before, it's at the 200 here we got 10 and we got the 90 here, so it's in the first range. It's group 1 above and group 2 below. Hasn't even touched into group 2 here, the support area here, so it hasn't really even touched that, so it's quite close, sticking to this number. So it may not come down too far, but all we need to do is count 5 waves down here, and really there should be some, see the size of this here as wave A here. Well, we should see something similar over here in terms of distance and size and so on. We don't need a big correction like that, but in the middle of it all, but it's still a little bit short at this point. Now, if you're going to go long, then you can go long above here. Now, we can bring it down from that top to that top. But yeah, we're just waiting for this to play out, and once that's done, well, then we should see a move up, and then we'll be looking to go long here. And depending on where it comes down here, we may be able to get a couple of, or at least one small position in here, depending how tight it is. And then the idea would be to build in through group 1 over here, 10, 20, and 30 over here. So yeah, that's our timing for this, and we're not there yet, and I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out down here as such, but we'll see. I mean, it could just sit on this trend line perhaps, but we still need 5 waves, and we don't have 5 waves yet. So that's all neat and tidy. Alphabet and Microsoft are kind of the same a little bit. So in a nutshell, I've just drawn a line here to make it easy, the A, the B, and the C wave here, and I'm just going to expand this up here now. And I mean, it's sitting on here, so normally I'd look to go long above here, but I don't have the rest of the markets with me. And look at it, and it may, it may push up here, but I'm still expecting a move to the downside here, right? So I'm not going to do anything around this particular number, and I'm not going to call in any long trades because we've still got lower to go in the general market. I just go with the consensus. Now, there's always stocks that do the opposite, and there's always news events and all sorts of things are occurring. And but yeah, the general consensus is that we should be coming down. We could look at this as the wave 1 to the downside and some sort of A, B, and C here, and then just continue to come down from that point and make a new low here. Once again, once we've got a low in place here, then we're going to use the 90 over here if it's in line with everything else, and this is where we'll build our trade. And if we can pick lows in other markets, then we can build in, before this number. But we're not there yet, and yeah, so that's where that is. We're not quite there. I mean, we can have a low in here and we can build on this, but it's not in line with the other markets at this stage. So I'm just going to leave it, and it's the same with Microsoft as well. We've got this A wave, B wave, and C wave down here. We're in the later stages of this, so from B down to C here in blue. We've got 1 and 2 up here, and 3 and 4 here, and yeah, just just working it to the downside. So I was looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 over to here, and then we need to look at this area through here. We're not down here yet. I haven't had time to consider that spike in the market, but it doesn't really matter. The next step here really is from the 250, which is a medium level. Then we've got group 2 here, and the market is in group 2 at the moment, so I'm expecting it to move through that and find the lower end, the 246.50 as the retested resistance, and then drop down to 5, which will be the 245, and then retest the supply at group 2 at the 246.50 area, and then push down again here. So yeah, I could put this here, but I could put it over here. I'm not quite sure just yet, but yeah. We still need to come down further for this, so there's nothing really to do. We talked about shorting it under this low yesterday, so that's okay. You'd still, until what's a good way to, well, I mean, I can only sort of talk about myself, but so if you shorted it here, you would have had the stop, above the previous high, hopefully. Now that would stay up there until group 2 became the retested resistance. So when the 246.50 becomes the retested resistance, then you can bring it down from the top. Then you can bring it down further down into these highs here, because you're using group 2 as the resistance at that point, and then you wouldn't be able to move it down again until you know, until the 5 here became the retested resistance, and then you can bring it down under this one here because the 45, the number 5 is the resistance, you know. And then it's the same with the 3 as well. I mean, when it hits 3, it'll pretty much always comes back to 4, and about 60-70% of the time it will come back to 5, depending on what the structure is, of course. So, you know, this is why you need to understand that all the trading levels do is they just improve the support and resistance, your trade setups, your entries, your stops, your trailing stops and targets, and it just brings your, you know, it just brings your attention to the price a lot more, which is the valuable point. That's the sort of trick behind it. You start noticing things if you can see things, you know. Yeah. So anyway, that's all that. And old Bertie here, we're still waiting for him to fall out of bed and go and get a glass of milk. So we still need that to come down. It's looking heavy here because we've got wave B here with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And yeah, so we're still down here with this. We're not ready to do anything yet. But, you know, this is, you know, the reason I look at this particular market, because it's just something a little bit different from the tech stocks. It's the low volatility, you know, this is quite central to the low volatility index, and yeah, it doesn't move very much. Oh, I mean, it does, but moving very slowly since we've been at this top here. You know, nobody wants to sell as such, but you know, the weight of it still needs to come down. And look, it may even just come down to 298 or something like that, I was thinking, you know, but it doesn't really matter. But the point being is that it still needs to come down, and because we've got 5 waves here, and that's not the high, that's the high, and this is quite a nice 5-wave structure in here when you go to the intraday. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, sitting at, you know, banging its head against the supply here at 5. Second strongest number. So yeah, it's doing everything that it should be doing. Yes, it's got overlapping wave structures here, but yeah, I don't really sort of care about that too much, you know. Sure, it could be a bigger bear market, down for 1 and back for 2, down for 1 and back for 2, you know, if you wanted to play it out like that. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out anyway. So with block here, a little bit like Enphase, I don't have a good grip on what's what. I can see parts of it all. I would assume that that it will come down further. Now, this did make a new high here, so that means that I can view this 5 waves that we had here as a B wave here, and then a C wave up here for that, and then come down here in 5 waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to come down. That's what I'm sort of thinking, in line with the other markets. But yeah, I mean, I could play it out another way. I could go the A wave here, then an A, B, and C for the B wave up there, and down for the C wave when we make a new high here. But I don't want to go long here without the rest of the market. And, you know, if the bank that we follow, the Bank of America, was bullish, well, then we could go with that. And we're looking for it to be bullish. So when we look at the Bank of America here, we're looking up at wave 1 here with an A wave, a B wave, and then 5 waves down for this C wave here. And we've been working through, you know, a series of wave 4s here for quite some time, and everything's been going according to plan, or within reason, you know, and we still need it to come down here. You know, we can look at this, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we can label that wave 1 here. We could put wave 2 over here for that. There's probably a case to have wave 2 there. I'll need to think about that a little bit further, and this is why spikes in the market are a bit tricky. But, you know, wave 3 normally comes in around the bottom of the previous structure, just generally shooting the breeze on that, and then wave 5 coming in down here, and wave 5 can be much the same length as wave 1 if we get an extension in wave 3. So yeah, look, I can't figure out this cacophony at the moment here with this, but it kind of don't matter, you know. I know that we need to come down further, so I'm not going to spend any time sort of sorting through that mess. Got my own room to clean up. So that's it. So thanks for tuning in, and yeah, let's see what Friday brings. And it's the same story as last Friday. If we can see Friday being bullish, then we know that will follow through on the Monday. But if Friday is bearish, then we'll have to expect Monday to be softer as well. But going into current lows, you know, it might not be a big bearish sort of picture, just sort of softer and more bouncy, and, you know, trying to find those lows in that regard. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.